Tēnā koutou katoa. I am Joanne Hakaraia Olsen and welcome to my channel. I am a rongoa Māori healer from Aotearoa, New Zealand. I'm going to start with an opening karakia or prayer just to set the tone of our session today. And also our prayers are going out to the people that have been affected with the fires in Los Angeles at the moment. Our prayers are with you and we are all connected, so this affects all of us. So let's take 3 deep breaths in together. Ha ki roto, breathe in. Ha ki waho, breathe out. Ha ki roto, breathe in. Ha ki waho, breathe out. Ha ki roto. Ha ki waho. Whakataka te hau ki te uru, whakataka te hau ki te tonga. Kia mā kina ki uta, kia mā taratara ki tai e hi aki ana te ata kura, he tio he huka, he hauhu ti hei Mauri ora. Ngā mihi. The karakia is about settling the winds. It's about settling the winds in our physical environment, but also settling the winds within us. And it's about bringing it back into being tau, being in a settled or balanced state of being. Today I'd like to start sharing a series of episodes around going deeper into the Ngahere, going deeper into the forest. As a rongoa Māori healer, what I do, my role is I work with the body and I work with the spirit of the person, working with body work, which is miri and romi. I also work with rongoa, which is traditional plant medicine. So I work with the native plants of Aotearoa. And through working with the rongoa over the years, I have been connecting deeply into the plants, but more so connecting deeply into the Mauri of the plants, which is the life force or the life essence of the plants. And not only just the plants, but we also tap into the spirit of the forest, the kaitiaki or the guardians of the forest or the guardians of the plants, and tuning into the spirit to ensure that that we have permission to be able to collect the plants, permission to be able to walk through the forest and have safe passageway through the forest, because as a rongoa Māori healer, we are always walking in 2 worlds, 2 realms. So the physical world, which is te ao marama, which is here, and the spiritual world. And when we're asking for safe passageway, it's just giving acknowledgement to the guardians of the forest that we are coming through. And what I need to see, I will see. What I need to hear, I will hear. But during that whole journey of being in the forest, that the pathways are clear and open, and acknowledgement has been given. And so when we enter the forest, we always provide a karakia, which is a prayer that enables us to have a safe journey. I want to ask you, how do you enter the forest? How do you enter the Ngahere? Is there a practice that you do before you enter? Is there a koha or a giving of acknowledgement before or when you're in the forest? I would really love to hear what you do before you enter the forest and when you're in the forest. because I feel that it would really help our listeners. The forest is very symbolic of how the mind is. And so because we are all connected, we are all one, everything in our physical universe, in our physical environment, reflects to us who we are. And it reflects back to us our state of being, our state of mind. And so this is about giving reverence to the forest, and therefore giving reverence to ourselves. And if this becomes a practice that we do when we enter the forest, or when we enter any place of reverence or significance, then we are training ourselves to be in our sacred state. As a rongoa Māori healer, I collect, harvest plants from the forest all of the time. And I'm taught to, there is a practice, there is a tikanga, there are protocols that we follow before we enter the forest, when we're in the forest with the plants, and when we leave the forest. So we have this practice. And after many years of working with plants and doing these practices, I started to see that the forest is very symbolic of the mind. So how do you enter the Ngahere? How do you enter the forest? With the forest being symbolic of the mind, how do you enter? Which is, how do you enter the forest would be the same as how do you enter yourself? How do you bring it back to yourself? So when I enter the forest, there are practices that I do, because I need to put myself in a state of peace, in a state of resonance with the forest. And to do that, there's a number of things that I do. One of them, of course, is I do a Karakia, which is a prayer, and I do that before I go into the forest, and that sets me up to, it opens the door, basically. It opens the spiritual door, a prayer. And this can be an intention that you can set. It's about asking for safe passageway. It's about acknowledging the forest and knowing that what you need to see and what you need to do will be revealed to you in a safe way. So basically you're opening the door to be able to enter that space. Now if you look at that as symbolic of the mind, that is so powerful. It's like saying a karakia or a prayer to put you into that state of peacefulness, in that state of resonance that is the Mauri or life force of the forest. And if you think about the forest and its Mauri, the life force, you've got all of the plants and trees in there that have got all of their vibrations, their Mauri, working together, weaving together, connecting with each other. They all work with each other, and they hold light. They hold divine light, sacred light. They hold mātauranga, knowledge. They hold so many things. So many things. They are beings that that make up the Mauri of the forest. They make up the Mauri of the forest, the life force of the forest, so that the forest has one big, giant life force that is an accumulation of the plants and the trees, the moss, the lichen, the manu, the birds, everything that a forest holds or hosts, or is the host of, holds that Mauri. And when you're saying a prayer to enter the ngahere or the forest, you are saying a prayer to acknowledge each and every one of those things that I just mentioned. The plants, the trees, everything in the forest, the birds. The birds are our messengers. They're like little thoughts. They're our messengers that let us know that we're on the right track. They all hold, they come in, they reveal themselves to you, and each bird has a special message. They have their korowai, or their cloak of wings, that cloak of feathers that hold specific vibrations, specific messages, and they turn up in your life when you need to know something. So when I enter the forest, or most of us when we enter the forest, birds are one of the things that we need to see before we enter, because that gives us an opening, an entrance, and everyone can have a different bird that they see. So that's a symbol of entering. So the forest holds this Mauri, this life force, and that is what the prayer is to be able to enter that forest and be in one, connected with everything. So that is about bringing your Mauri, your life force, into a state of resonance with the Mauri of the forest. And so that is what the Karakia, that is what the prayer is about. And so it is about bringing it back to yourself. We are taught as Māori healers, when we're collecting plants, that we cannot go in if we've got ill thoughts, or we've just been in an argument, or there's chaos. You have to leave that at the forest door. You have to drop that and go in a neutral space and be one with the forest, so that you can hear, you can see, sense the whole world of the forest, because you're not just going in there to collect plants, you're going in there to learn. You're going in there for insights. There might be something that you need to do. So everything, all of your senses, your spiritual senses, need to be on alert, or need to be in a higher vibration, so that you can perceive all of the messages when you're in the forest. And it's about bringing your state of being into resonance with the Mauri, the life force of the forest. And to know what the life force of the forest is to go into the forest and learn, and just learn about the forest as a whole, as a collective, not just with one plant, one tree, going in and tuning into the forest as a whole. So what this does, it establishes a connection between yourself and the forest, and the spirit of the forest, the spirit of the plants. It establishes a connection between you and the forest. And then you can enter. Then you can enter and have a magical and awesome experience. That is entering the forest. And when the forest is symbolic of the mind. So everything I just mentioned then about the practice of moving into the forest is exactly what is happening with the mind. So to know the Mauri of the forest, the life force of the forest, is to know where the Mauri of your mind is. Because the Mauri of your mind makes up the being that you are. So I have a whittle for you, or a challenge, and that is, how would you attune your mind to the Mauri of the forest? How would you attune your mind to the Mauri, the life force of the forest? This is something for you to reflect on, and I would love to see your answers in the comments section, just letting me know how you would attune your mind to the Mauri of the forest. So to attune your mind to the Mauri of the forest, or the life force of the forest, you need to know what that Mauri is, what the Mauri of the forest is. And this can be any forest. You choose a forest that works for you. Choose a forest that is close to you. It could be a reserve or a park, somewhere where there's a lot of trees and plants. See if you can define the Mauri, the life force of that area. And to define what the Mauri is to ask questions like how it makes you feel. How does it make you feel when you're there? How does it make you feel? And is there a colour to that life force, to the Mauri? Is there a tone to the Mauri of the forest? Are there images that come up for you when you think about the life force of that forest? So these are some questions that you can ask yourself to find out what the Mauri of the forest is. And to know that, then you can answer that question, which is, how do you attune your mind to the Mauri of the forest? And I would love to know what your answers are. Put them in the comments below so that I would just love to read them. It would be wonderful and very helpful to our listeners who are learning to connect with the Mauri of the forest. This is going to be really helpful in understanding as we move through the next episodes, because they're all going to be on going deeper into the forest. Remembering that the forest is symbolic of the mind, and that what we are essentially doing is bringing peace, restoring peace and calmness into our being, bringing it back to us and restoring peace and tranquility, calmness into our being. Because when we know what the life force of the forest is, we can always attune to that. Once we know what that is, we can always attune our body, our mind to that life force. So it's very, very important moving forward. I'd also love to know why you go into the forest. What are your reasons for going into the forest? Is it for fun? Is it for learning about a tree? Is it for just because of the experience and the peace and the calmness of being in the forest? Are there reasons for going into the forest for you? I'd love to know what they are. Everyone has a different reason for going into the forest. When we understand that our environment that is in front of us, that is around us, is a reflection of everything that is going on inside of us. Once we understand that, then we know that if we just work on ourselves, our thoughts, and bringing a state of peace and tranquility to our state of being, then our environment will reflect our state of mind. I want to thank you for joining me on this first episode of Going Deeper into the Forest. And if you would like to explore further with me, you might consider becoming a member of my rongoa Mauri. Details are below in my bio. I'm going to close with our closing Karakia, and I look forward to seeing you next time. Kia taura ngā manaakitanga a te mea ngaro. Ki ronga ki tēnā o tātou. Kia mahia te hua mā kihikihi. Kia toi te kupu, toi te mana, toi te aroha, toi te reo Māori. Kia tuturu whiti whakamaua kia tina, haumi e hui e taiki e.